This little girl would watch her father beat on her mother. When she was little, she would scream for her daddy to stop. The father would move his daughter out the way and continue to beat on the mother. The little girl would sit and watch and just cry. And this happened for years until the father decided to leave the mother for another woman. This little girl loved her father, but she was just happy that her father was out the house. Her mother was more happy, and it seemed like they was about to have a peaceful life. But one night her mother went out and decided to meet another man. Long story short, this man was no better than her father. But he waited until she fell in love to show his true colors. And since the mother was so numb to it, she just stayed. The daughter would tell the mother, "Mommy, I'm sick and tired of you going through this with men." And she would cry to her mother, "Mom, please leave him. I'm begging you, I'm begging you." The mother would look her daughter in her eyes and say, "Baby, I love him." The daughter would say, "Mommy, but this not love." Then the mother would say, "Baby, you too young to know what love is. I'm not gonna give up on him because he has a little bit of flaws." She said, when you love someone, you don't give up on them. With tears rolling down the daughter's eyes, she puts her head down and she remembered that for the rest of her life. Now this little girl is in high school. She in the 11th grade. She's starting to hang around the wrong crowd of people. The little boy she really liked is in the gang. She gets to talking to that young man and they hit it off. Her and the little boy get to talking, and then later on, senior year, they move in together. Little girl's not coming around the house no more. She's not picking up her mother's calls or anything like that. So one day her mother gets on Facebook and sees that a little boy is pointing a weapon at her daughter's head. And the caption read, "When you know he loves you." The mother freaks out, calls her daughter right away. The daughter would not respond. The mother would text, call all night. The next morning she gets a call from her daughter's phone. So when she looked at the phone, she hurried up and picked up and started breathing really hard like, "Oh my God, baby, what are you doing?" The little girl says, "Mom, what are you talking about?" She said, "I seen your Facebook post where that little boy put a weapon to your head. Baby, what are you doing? That's not no love." The little girl said, "Mom, what are you talking about?" Then the mother says, "I went to that little boy's Facebook. He posting weapons and talking about he gonna do this and do that to people." She said, "Girl, you do not need to be with him. Please come home." The little girl was like, "But Mom, why would I come home?" She said, "Because you don't know what love is. That's not no real love." She said, "Mama, don't you remember when you used to get beat and you used to tell me I didn't know what love was and you was in love?" She said, "I'm older now. Now I see what you talking about, Mom. Now I know what love is." The mother, heart's dropping to her stomach, because now she feel like she just led her daughter into something that she cannot get her out of. The mother gets to crying after her daughter tells her that, and she begs and pleads for her daughter to come home. She says, "Baby, I got this gut feeling. Please, please come home." The little girl said, "No, Mom, I'm not coming home," and said, "I'll call you back." The mother is so stressed out that she hurry up and calls her dad. The dad picks up the phone and she tells him everything that's going on. And before the mother got off the phone with the father, she said, "Don't tell her nothing I told you." The father said, "Okay, cool." Next thing you know, the father calls his daughter. He says, "Hey, baby, what you doing?" She said, "I ain't doing nothing, Dad. What's going on with you?" He said, "Listen, I just came across some money and I wanted to make sure I can give you this money, but I got it in cash. Where you at?" She said, "Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to send you my address." He said, "Okay, cool." Got the address and drove to her house. So when he get to the house, he calls her and says, "Hey, baby, I'm outside." She says, "Daddy, can you put the money in the mailbox because I'm not home right now?" But he keeps seeing the blinds move, so he getting suspicious. So he say, "So who in the house then if you ain't home?" She said, "Daddy, ain't nobody in the house." So him thinking the worst, he hurry up and jump out the car, walks up to the steps and get the booming on the door. He got the knocker so hard that a young man came downstairs with a weapon in his hand. But he opened the door slightly and the father didn't see it. So the father looks at the young man and said, "Tell my daughter to come down here right now." He said, "Marissa, tell her to come down here right now." So the young man screamed out, "Marissa." The father calls her phone since she wasn't coming down and he heard a ring in the house. So he get mad and frustrated and bust through the door, and then the dude say, "Hey bro, you tweaking." And he flashes the weapon. The father looks at the young man and said, "Hey, whoa, hold on. You got it, and steps back. So now that the young man is pointing a weapon at the father, he's screaming out, "Keep on acting tough. Think you tough? Huh? You think you tough?" She runs down the stairs and tells the young man to put the weapon up and screaming to him, "That's my daddy, that's my daddy." So the young man put the weapon back in his pants and started walking backwards. And now he see his daughter all beaten and bruised. He dropped on his knees and started weeping and saying, "Baby, what's wrong? Baby, please tell me what's wrong." She said, "Daddy, I don't want to talk about it right now." He started grabbing his chest and saying, "Baby, please tell me that he ain't putting his hands on you, baby. Please tell me that." She said, "Daddy, I don't want to talk about it right now." She started crying because she never seen her daddy weak. She realized he ain't crying. This man is so weak that he just really loved me. He don't want to see me in this predicament. Then the father says, "Baby, why is you dealing with him? I don't understand it." She said, "Daddy, I love him." The father got off his knees and says, "Baby, that's not no love." She looked her daddy in the eyes and said, "I heard you tell my mama that you was beating her because you loved her. Daddy, he just like you. He just get mad at me and he put his hands on me. He gonna get better, Daddy. He gonna get better." The little boy said, "Hey man, enough of all that talking, man. I don't got time for all that." So she says, wait, let me just talk to my daddy." He said, "No, he said he was gonna come with some money. Where that money at?" So the father said, "Look, man, I ain't finna give you nothing." Then he said, "Okay, well, you gonna have to leave or get blown down." He said, "Watch your mouth." The little boy pulled out the weapon and bagged up and said, "Oh, you think I'm playing?" So the little girl said, "Daddy, just please leave, Daddy, just please leave." So with tears in his eyes, he hugged his daughter for the very last time and said, "Baby, I love you." Jumped in the car and pulled off. Later that night, she didn't like how her boyfriend disrespected her father, so she got the courage to leave. They was arguing for like 2 to 3 hours, and she was gonna wait till he fell asleep so she can leave. So when her boyfriend was sound asleep, she grabbed everything she needed and tried to sneak out the house. The screeching of the door woke him up, and he said, "Yo, where you going?" And she said, I'm done. And he said, "B, you ain't going nowhere." So she jet out the door and get to running for her life. The little boy grabs his weapon and starts chasing right after her. As she's running, she looks back and sees that he catching up. And she's screaming out, "Somebody help me, please, somebody help." And as she's screaming to the top of her lungs, she see the neighbors flicking on their lights. Now when the little boy see this, he feel like he losing control, so he started pointing the weapon and started firing at her. She gets hit in the leg and in the hip and falls straight to the ground. When she get hit, she keeps screaming, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy." So the little boy catches up to her and he says, "I told you, if I can't have you, nobody can." He puts her hand up and says, "Babe, please don't do this. I'm scared. I'm scared." He said, "You was gonna leave me?" She said, "Babe, please, I'm scared. Please, I just want my daddy." He spit in her face and said, "F your daddy," and emptied the clip. The next day, the mother and father was asked to come identify the body. And when they realized it was their daughter, they couldn't take it. The mother looked at the father and said, "It's all my fault." Then the father looked at the mother and said, "No, it's all my fault." Because now they both understand the influence that they had on their daughter. So if you're watching this video, just remember, your kids is watching you. It's up to you to be the right influence or the wrong influence. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. And type story time in the comments if you want more stories like this. So your comment could be in the next video. To all the cool people that follow me, I'm gonna see you in the next video.